Why do we motion and shift? I think the first thing is we like to make defensive players talk. And I say players more than coaches because, I don't think I'm much smarter, or really probably I'm not smarter than most or all defensive coordinators and defensive coaches that we go against. But I'm very confident that I am smarter than almost every player that we go against because they're 17 years old and this is my life, right? And this is our life as coaches. I know that we can confuse a 17-year-old more than I can confuse a grown man who's calling defense in the box with a headset on. So we line up in one formation, they make their formation checks and their pre-snap adjustments, and hey, all week when they line up in tray, they do this and we're going to do this and rar. All right, now we line up in we trade two guys and we're in a different formation. Well, now they have to redo that whole thing and then the ball is snapped, right? So it makes defensive players talk. It makes them have to be the people on the field who make decisions and adjustments. The other thing, and it kind of goes back to this, I'll jump a bullet point here, is presents fast tempo, right? 10 or so years ago, everyone's playing fast. And it gave defenses a lot of trouble and it became the cool thing. And defenses adjust, right? That's the great part about this game is everybody adjusts to each other over the course of years or even in game or in season. Defenses can handle up tempo. If you snap the ball every 11 seconds, defenses generally can handle that. They have one word calls. They align field boundary. They're able to handle those things much better now as a whole than they used to 10, 15 years ago. If you shift right before the snap and then you snap the ball, it creates a lot of the same issues as tempo, right? Teams cannot get lined up properly. They don't get to get their cleats in the ground. They're not lined up for 15 seconds with the ability to look at every single split of every single player and make all their pre-snap ideas because you're shifting and moving. So it presents a lot of the advantages of tempo, but also you can still control the game clock, right? Your defense isn't on the sideline for only 90 seconds sometimes. And they're not even having a chance to get a sip of water. So it controls the tempo, but it presents issues that up-tempo teams do present at times. Going back a bullet point here, manufacturing better defensive alignments. I think this is huge. Say you line up in doubles open, here in Texas, most defenses line up to doubles open like 3 or 4 different ways, right? It's like their day one install, right? Because everyone lines up in that set so much. Well, if we line up in something first and then shift 2 doubles open, they may only have one kind of base adjustment. So we know what that alignment is going to be, right? We know more predictably what we're going to get. So it allows us to know the picture that much cleaner. Causing confusion, that goes back to the first point. Create better matchups. Hey, we're always going to set our 3 technique to the tight end. Cool. We're going to set the tight end right and then flip them left. Now you're 3 techniques away from the tight end. Or you're trying to move a 280-pound kid across the center right before the ball is snapped, which doesn't really work, right? We're creating better personnel matchups. We're always going to put our best receiver to the pass, or we're always going to put our best DB to the passing strength. Cool. We're going to set the passing strength and then we're going to flip it. Stuff like that. Very simple, right? But it creates better matchups. And then ultimately hiding a concept or a formation, right? We love to run duo, right? I'm talking duo this weekend at the San Antonio offensive line, defensive line clinic with Glazier. If you guys want to talk duo, hit me up because that's something that was amazing for us this year. But we run duo a lot. All right. I'm not always going to line up in the same 3 or 4 man surface and run duo. We're going to shift, we're going to motion, we're going to adjust to get to that. All right. So that defenses don't just see the same picture repeatedly. All right.